Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 5 of Propulsion Swimming's Olympic live stream review powered by AP. I'm your host, Scott, and with me, as always, is Dan. Dan, what a day in the pool for British swimming. There is so much to break down here. I get the feeling we're going to spend a lot of time on one single race, but it's deserved. It is utterly deserved.
I mean, like we always say, we want to try and cram it all in an hour, but we could easily talk about that single race for the next 3 hours. No problem whatsoever. Yeah, super exciting. I got up at 2:00. I was part of that 2 a.m. swim crew. I did it because the session was so good, and we're going to get into it. We're going to smash it out, and yeah, oh man, how good was it? How good was it?
Well, the plan for tonight's live stream, not just to focus on that 200 freestyle, we are going to be reviewing every race from a British perspective, but we do cover every nation the best we can.
Yep.
That final session, and then we will go into the heats that happen later on today, which in turn previews tomorrow's races. Dan, before we get into it, as always, we do need to give a massive shout out to our partners who are powering this live stream, AP. I mean, we couldn't have asked to make a deal with the brand that we have for this Olympic live stream. Adam Peaty's double Olympic champion.
It doesn't get much better than Adam, does it? I mean, the best breaststroker that's ever lived, and he's just pushing new boundaries every time he gets in the water almost. And basically, yeah, we're sponsored by AP. Him and his team behind, so you get Ed, you got, there's Michael Gunning. There's loads of names. I don't want to miss any, so let's not call them out. But the team's vision is to revolutionise the sport of swimming through various different projects and events. This is for swimmers, coaches, and parents as well. And I think parents, there's actually quite a good key area that they've identified there, because parents are a big team. It's a big team member, maybe your most valuable team member for a swimmer. They've already launched AP Race Plus, which is a revolutionary online platform and provides you with world-class support from Adam Peaty's own team, which is insane. You know, strength and conditioning, the job lot. And yeah, I'm really excited to how it goes in the future, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and you can actually get coached. You or your children can go get coached by Adam himself at an AP race clinic. They're all up and down the country straight after the Olympics before the end of August. So if you want to book your place on that course, just follow the link in the description of this live stream or go to clinics.aprace.club. Mm-hmm. Dan, there was one event before the big one that we'll break down first because my OCD means we have to do it in chronological order. Yeah, otherwise, we'd be jumping straight into the 200 free. But the women's 200 free semifinals came first.
They did.
Is there too much we can take away from this? Because again, the times, like the heats, were not that impressive. They were okay.
They were, yeah, I'm going to go with okay. Let's go with okay, because there was nothing groundbreaking whatsoever. I mean, to qualify for the final, you had to go a 156.2. No, 156.2 for Maddie Wilson came 8th.
Okay.
Yeah. But even still, I mean, I thought it would be you have to go a 155, and actually 4th, the Chinese swimmer, 155.9. That was 4th fastest. It's still, in my head, it's still relatively slow. And this is the reason why you get the likes of Titmus, Ledecky, and Siobhan Haughey. They took it out relatively hard, or Titmus didn't, she brought it back hard. Just almost like securing their place for the final and just slowing down for the last 25 meters or so. It's very strange. I mean, I'm expecting fireworks for the final, don't get me wrong, but the lead up to it has been underwhelming. Let's put it that way.
A little bit. Shall we break down the first semi-final then? Because Siobhan Haughey and Oleksiak took it out hard. Siobhan Haughey then looked the most impressive through the whole race. If you want my opinion, she switched off for the last 50, 25. She knew the job was done. But for the first 150, for me, she's now medal prospect. Almost on that podium for me.
I think the podium is set, to be honest with you, already. I think my biggest takeaway was that Titmus is the form swimmer. She's a class act as of right now. I mean, Ledecky could prove us wrong, or Haughey could prove me wrong.
To turn it on, she really does, doesn't she?
Yeah, very much so. And the tactics that she's got, she's trusting her training, you see. And obviously, Dean Boxall's done a fantastic job of her, where she's going out relatively steady. It's almost like the classic Pellegrini sort of tactic, going out quite steady and coming back like an absolute freight train. And it's working for her. She's trusting the process, trusting her body, trusting the training that she's done beforehand. It's working for her. I think she's going to win it. And then it's a fight for second with Ledecky and Haughey, in my opinion.
Yes, second semi-final. After your comments yesterday of Ledecky's stroke rate seems to be definitely higher, I watched it. I really paid attention to how she was doing. And you're right. She looks like she's working really, really hard, actually. I don't know if she's got another gear, but her stroke rate is high. I've kind of put down she's not a massive threat for gold.
It's strange, isn't it?
It just looks like she has that one gear, and Titmus has beaten her on the 4, and this is even faster. I think it is Titmus's to lose, and whether Haughey can maybe sneak ahead of Ledecky.
Yeah, I mean, Ledecky is the 800 1500 specialist, which is what she would be training for, which is a constant pace.
Yeah,
you don't need to really change gear in a 1500 as such, but the 200 you absolutely do. You have to change from gear 3 up to gear 6 or whatever car you're driving, 5 or 8, whatever. But I think it's Titmus's to lose. I think she's going to do the 2 and 4 double, and I honestly don't think anyone's going to like trouble her. I don't. I think that the tactics might play a part again, like in the 400, where Siobhan Haughey might go out strong, but then Titmus knows she's got the back end, and I just don't see anyone beating her. She's the form swimmer, like I said, and she can go 2 seconds quicker potentially. I think she might go a world record.
This was the question I've got for you. She got so close to the world record at Aussie trials, like ridiculously close, and we thought that world record was almost untouchable. I want to say she gets it here, but the lack of competition, the morning finals, I just don't think she's going to get there now. It just seems like a walk in the park some of the time for her.
Yeah, I mean, the theory still stands that we had before from the heats to semis is tough, and then they do have that whole 24 hours to then sort themselves out for the final. It seems to be working still. The 200 free that comes later on is a fine example of that. Is there competition? There is competition. You look at the names and you think, they're the top 3 in the world. They are. But Titmus is head and shoulders right now. I think technique-wise, she's just fantastic as well. Fantastic to watch. I question mark Ledecky because the stroke, it's not short, it's just quicker, and I just wonder if she's catching as much water as she used to. I don't know. It's very odd. It's definitely faster. I'm sure it's faster. I still need an American, someone to tell me whether it's true or not. Has her stroke rate got quicker in the last few years or so? Because it's effective over long distance still, but when it comes to the shorter sprinter events, if you like, then it's not as effective maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Should we talk a little bit about Freya from a GB perspective? I'll be honest, I thought a final was a push for her to get there. I am more kind of disappointed. I never like using the word disappointed when it's not me swimming. But the fact that her PB would have comfortably made the final is a little bit of a letdown. But at the same time, she came out in the interview afterwards and said her build-up for the games has been disruptive from injury we didn't know about. She got dropped at the 100 mark. And the last 50 again looked strong, but that third 50 looked the weakest part, which I guess is the training volume she lost.
I think this is the problem. I think when Freya looks back at that race, she had every opportunity to do it. She had what's someone's name? Semenova next to her. Pellegrini who went out quite strong. So you had a pacemaker next to you. Just stay on her shoulder, but she just went back to her knees or ankles. So that was probably, I suppose, the first error. It's so strong that it's not an error. It just didn't happen for her. But that's what I would have tried to do. Stay on Semenova's shoulder, and then when you got Pellegrini next to you, who you know is going to come through on the last 50 meters, you just stay with her. So it was all there on a plate for her, effectively. It just didn't happen for her, and maybe the injuries were a factor. I mean, it has to be a factor.
I'm kind of disappointed she didn't just watch Pellegrini and do what Pellegrini does, because they're basically the same swimmer. The way that Freya races it, she could have just watched Pellegrini and touch out Pellegrini, and that would have been enough to make the final. It's just disruptions. It's a dangerous game. I appreciate that watching late night. I've been saying since we started previewing the Olympics, I think it's one too soon, but the next one she's going to be pretty special.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 3 years as well, and that makes her still early 20s. I think 24, I want to say. That's how old she's going to be in Paris.
She's got the best coach. She's actually, we'll get on to it. He deserves a lot more credit than he's getting.
Yeah, I think Jazz Carling put it up on social media.
Siobhan.
Was it Siobhan? It was Siobhan, that's right. And he was going all the way back from Michael Jameson in 2012, and then, of course, you had Jazz in 16. I'm sure there was one before in Beijing. But
Dave McNulty has medals at 4 past Olympics. Yeah. He's the best British coach ever.
Yeah,
quite comfortably, and he's just
very, very well.
He's just got the 200 free gold, and he's got Freya as part of his stable. I mean,
Yep.
you can't ask for a better coach to lead her into Paris.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose going back to Freya and going back to just staying with Pellegrini, would you trust yourself to keep up with Pellegrini on that final 50? There's not many that can.
If I was Freya, I
So
would. Her last 50
yeah,
is phenomenal.
I'd make sure you're in front of Pellegrini and then try and stay with her. Make sure do
Yeah,
that.
maybe.
But yeah, I mean, the future's bright still. The future is
Yeah.
bright for Freya. I did think that she was going to make the final, and on paper, she probably should have done, but didn't happen for her. Whether the injuries were a factor or not, possibly, I don't know. She didn't say anything about it beforehand at trials or at Europeans or anything like that. But you don't want to make excuses as an athlete. You don't. So ultimately, she's still got relays to go, and we'll see how they go.
Right.
Here we go.
That's that one done. Men's 200 meters freestyle, Dan. And you know what this means? We're adding to the medal count.
Come on, where is it?
Down the bottom here.
Here we go. Boom.
Another gold and a silver. The first time in 113 years that Britain has had a 1-2 in the pool. This is phenomenal. Phenomenal for British swimming. This, for me, it almost trumps PT backing up his title. This is outstanding.
Yeah, there's a reason I got up at 2:00 in the morning to watch it, and my biggest thing was that Zhang, the Korean, went out like an absolute rocket. I mean, you do not go out in a 49.7 on a 200 free. Holy moly! And so he was miles ahead with 50 meters to go, and you think, well, I know he's going to blow up, so let's not worry about him. But Tom was there. Tom was with him on his hip, and you think, oh my god! And then Duncan's last turn was insane. And I've got the splits, or you've got the splits. Basically, Duncan was holding 26s.
26.4, basically, for the whole thing.
Jeez.
I honestly think that Tom Dean won because he was next to Zhang.
Yeah, no, I agree.
If Duncan was next to Zhang, Duncan would have won.
Yeah.
Because it just dragged him along. It was the perfect pacemaker. We all know Tom Dean's easy speed is phenomenal. It's so good. Yeah. So all he had to do was sit there for 150 and then go. And boy, did they both go. They both went.
It was sensational. I mean, I was watching it, even though I was knackered at like 2:30 or whatever time it was in the morning. I was out of my chair bouncing, and I'm pretty sure I woke my neighbors and stuff. But it had to be done because it was just awesome. 1908, wasn't it? The last time that we had a 1-2 in the pool? Oh, man.
Was it 08 or 03? So I don't know.
One of those. Very early 90s, let's say that. But honestly, so good. And you know what I liked as well? I know Duncan was bitterly disappointed. You could see
I felt gutted for him. I really did.
Because he was a favourite. Yeah, he was a favourite going in.
Yes.
And I think he thought he was going to win. And in the interview, you could see he was disappointed, but all the questions were going to him. And you think, well, hang on, Tom Dean has just won it. Surely you ask him the questions. And so when the questions were asked to Duncan, he was like, well, pass it to Tom. Tom can answer that. I don't think he wanted to speak, to be honest with you, but I thought that was quite classy, giving it over to Tom, who's just done something incredible. Kind of reminds me of, when Anthony Joshua lost in the boxing against Andy Ruiz. They were all asking, they were asking Anthony Joshua all the questions, but really Andy Ruiz should be the one answering the questions. Similar to that. So very classy, and much as I over the moon for both of them. I mean, 2 medals in one race, awesome.
The other thing, Tom Dean's young. There's all this talk that obviously Popovici missed the podium by 0.02. He is going to be a superstar. No matter what he does at this Olympics. If he misses all podiums, it's not a problem. But Tom Dean's young as well. He's only 20, 21. Duncan Scott's not old. They're both going to be at Paris. They're both around for the next, 2? At least next 2 Olympics.
Do you reckon? Tom will be. Well, I think, probably, yeah. I wouldn't surprise myself, yeah. I mean, honestly. And then do you know what the best thing is? Well, I mean, that's obviously amazing. But then the 4x2 chances now. Boy. I mean, that's later on.
We will finish this live stream with the 4x2 chances because there's a lot to discuss on that one as well.
Yeah.
Obviously you said about the way Duncan reacted to Tom winning. I think this is this team environment that we've been banging on about for weeks before the Olympics. We had a podcast with James Wilby. He wanted to come on to talk about why swimming is a team sport.
Yes.
And the fact that Duncan was so magnanimous in passing it over to Tom. It was like, stop talking about me. He's the best. And then you see Jimmy in the crowd crying his eyes out.
That
was amazing.
Yeah, honestly.
And that just shows that this is a team. He's training partner for Tom. He missed the squad because he missed the 200 free because Tom swam so well at trials. He knows what it's like to miss the medals because he came fourth at Rio.
Yeah.
And just, I loved it. I really, really did.
I mean, he was bawling his eyes out, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, such a feel-good sort of feeling. I know Adam on Twitter or social media was saying, I hope this race gets recognized for what it was, which was something that hasn't happened for over 100 years. And the times were quick. I mean, 1:44.2 is
British record.
Yeah, British record. Well, they both went under the original British record by a distance, by 0.2. Of course, now Tom holds it. I'm pretty sure Duncan will want to get that back. Could they both go sub 1:44? There's only, I think, on top of my head, only 4 people have gone sub 1:44 before.
Yeah, no one's gone since 2012.
Yeah,
and we've just had a comment in the chat. The reaction back in Maidenhead. Well,
here we go. Yeah.
We spoke to BBC South News, and they have allowed us to put this footage into the live stream tonight, so we can watch it. We can enjoy it one more time.
Let's
put it.
Duncan Scott in the centre is looking really good. This is 20 and 6. 20 looking very good indeed. 50 metres to go in this round of the 200 freestyle. That was a tired looking time.
I mean, first of all, a massive thank you for Lewis Coombs and BBC South News for allowing us to play that in this live stream. It needs to be watched because that just shows the support back home. That's 2:00 in the morning. They must have woken up the whole of Maidenhead.
Yeah, well, I'm tempted to go and see them because I live in Bracknell, which is not too far away. I've no idea where exactly in Maidenhead it was, but geez, I mean, it was so loud. I probably should
have told people that is loud, but
oh man, you watch it, and you just think, you start bawling up, and you think, this is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. They've put all this hours in the pool, in the gym, etc., and it comes down to that, and it's all worth it in the end. I mean, you look at Adam's relief. Very different thing because I don't think Tom was supposed to win, but Adam was. But it's 2 different ways of dealing with it, and just awesome. I could watch that all day. I could.
Do you know another talking point we've not discussed really? This 1-2 is a massive thing for British swimming. Huge thing. For me, I wasn't surprised.
No.
That was my biggest takeaway. These guys went in 1 and 2 in the world, and they're both born racers. It wasn't a surprise. And that is the state of British swimming. You see, we've got 3 medals already on the board. We predicted 10. I'm not sure from our predictions anyone's overly missed. I think Max was an outside one we put as a possibility, but so far British swimming are going the way we thought they'd be.
Yeah, I think the only one who we would like to have seen a medal of was James Wilby in the 100. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen for him, but that's only because Martin Engie was just out of this world. He had the swim of his life, 2 swims of his life, in a semi as well. So that's not down to him. That's just someone was better on the day. But in terms of the 200 free, I mean, it's so good. I mean, in my opinion, I think the 200 free is a blue ribbon event in swimming.
You raced it. You love it.
Well, yeah, of course I do. Yeah, I mean, it's just fantastic to see. A lot of people think this is 100 free, and you might be right. There's a lot of names. I mean, we're going to get onto the 100 free later on. But yes, it's just a stunning race. I want to talk about Popovici because I thought he would go 144.
Yeah,
eventually. He had a very good lane, actually. He had lane 1, and he had clear water.
Other side of the pool to where the race was.
Yeah, he was by himself. And
almost snuck a podium.
Where's he going to go? How fast is that kid going to go? He's 16. He's still skinny. Yes, he's tall. Yes, his wingspan is like 10 foot or something stupid.
7, I think it is.
Yeah. But where could he go? I mean, he probably hasn't started the gym yet or anything. He could be one of those swimmers that goes sub 144 as well. It's extremely exciting to wait for. We'll find out. Oh, you frozen.
I think the internet connection's back. My internet connection went slightly dodgy. I am sorry for that.
Did you hear that?
No, I didn't.
I was just saying how good Popovici was, basically.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to move on from this event. We do. But
I don't want to, but we have to, unfortunately.
I just think that's the best British swim ever from both of them. Neither of them could have done much better at all.
I don't think so. Yeah, the race as it went with Huang doing what he did helped Tom, and that probably helped him win gold ultimately. But Duncan came back. I've got the splits for you here. We should probably change, but I like talking about this race. the splits. So I've always said that you got to go in a 50 points, right, to swim a world class 200 free, right? Tom went out in a 50.4, no, bang on, perfect. And then he came back in a 53. Duncan went out in a 51.3, and you think, oh, that's quite slow. And then he came back in a 52.8. He almost equal splitted. I mean, that's a sensational comeback. To go that time is insane. But we need to move on. We could talk about it all day long. We need to move on.
We'll have a review podcast after the Olympics is done, and we'll talk about that much, much more. Women's 100 backstroke. Now, we said before, we were chatting before we went live, that this event deserved a lot more atmosphere around the pool than it got, because this was a world-class field and some world-class times. But because it came straight after that 200 free, you're feeling a little bit flat watching it.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. I was I said to you, this is one race that I was really excited to watch, as well as the women's 400 free. This race. And since watching that 200 free, I was on a bit of like a come down. I was like, I feel a little bit calmer now. But then I tried to G myself back up again for watching this race. And I don't know. I was watching a race, and Kaylee McEwen won in Olympic record, near enough a world record, give or take. It was 0.02 off. And I just thought, that was good. That was a good race. Like, but I should have been more excited about it. I should have been.
Well, let's break it down, because I called this before in our preview prediction. I'm quite proud of this. I said Kylie Mass would get silver. I said Regan Smith would get bronze.
Yeah, you did.
I was watching the race and I thought, oh my God, Kylie Mass has done this. It was the perfect race. And then you see the finish and you're just like, how'd she lose? Oh, I have no idea. It was just Kaylee McEwen's finish. And the fact that she's got that back end speed of a 200. Actually, Kylie Mass is perfectly good at 200 back as well.
She can do 200 as well. I had very different sort of thoughts than you. I thought Mass did everything that she needed to win, putting herself out there, putting herself in the best possible position. But I just had no worries. I had no worries that Kaylee McEwen was going to come back. You've seen it at Aussie trials, at the Sydney Open and the Queensland meet and all the rest of it. She comes back like an absolute freight train. And she did it again. And in the end, it looks quite comfortable on paper. She won by 0.3. You think, well, it was close. It was closer than that, it seems. But it looks like it was quite comfortable. Hats off to Kylie Mass. I think it was just off her PB, what she did at Canadian trials. Yeah. Pretty much the same sort of time.
Regan Smith in the final, slightly anonymous. She slightly just didn't fire shots for me.
I think it's because Kylie and Kaylee, that's going to be weird. Kylie and Kaylee were out from the blocks straight away. I mean, straight, yeah. First to 15, both of them, and they kind of left Regan like a quarter, half a body length behind, and it was the race over for Regan straight away. Unfortunately, I mean, she's usually very good at the underwaters. Didn't work out for her. The turns from both Kaylee and Kylie were very good. Kaylee were both very good, and Kaylee won because of the back end speed, the last 15 meters or so. But
Kathleen Dawson, 6th place, a little bit off her PB.
Yep.
I mean, that's an elite field. You don't get a stronger 100 back on the women's side than that. 6th place in that field, pretty good. She's had a very, very good season. I think she tried to change up her tactics a little bit. She went out hard for the first 50 and paid the price. That's the only reason she slipped back to 6th. I think she just knew if she swam the usual race, she still couldn't get into that top 3. So she tried to change her tactics up a little bit, and it just didn't quite work.
I think she did the right thing. if you're unsure about whether coming back strong is going to work for you, then just get out there. Put yourself in the right position. I think Kylie Mass knew that. She knew that she couldn't come back stronger than Kaylee, so put it on her. Get in front and see if you can hold on. Basically, you never know. You might be able to hold on that day. My biggest takeaway from Catherine Dawson, again, swim speed right up there. And then it's just that turn. The underwaters, they still need... I mean, you're comparing yourself. The top three are the fastest 100 backstrokers of all time. That's who you're comparing to. So if you're level or equal with those sort of girls, then you're the best that's ever lived, or up there with the best that's ever lived. So she's doing a fantastic job as it is. She could say she's disappointed because she went 58.0 on the relay, the start of the relay at European, essentially 58.0. So 0.7 off. That's quite a bit of a chunk, to be honest with you, but it's an Olympic final. It's our first Olympic final.
Again, I just kind of pressure. I just put the slower time down to her trying a different way to make the podium.
Yeah, that's another reason. Yeah. I think there's good things to come from her, and I think she's got relays to come as well. And I suspect that time will come down because we will need her on, especially the mixed relay and the women's medley as well. So expect those times to come down. What else to take away from it? What else did I write? Oh, it was Australia have never won the women's 100 meter backstroke. That was a pretty stunning stat. Yeah.
No Siobhan?
No. 200, I think she's won. Yeah, that was a really stunning stat.
Interesting.
I'm surprised by that.
You love your stats, don't you?
I do.
Men's 100 meter backstroke. For me, this was one straight away on the start. All three of these guys went from the gun, and it was done. It was done by 25, actually, for me. It was just who finished first. Rylov, I didn't expect him to win, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, let's use that. I call it an upset, because I thought Rylov is more suited to the 200. I've said that since get-go. And he was just perfect. Everything. Just nailed everything. The start, bang on. The swim speed, bang on. Technique is obviously amazing. The turn was so good. The finish was the difference.
That's where he won.
Yeah, that's where he won. And, I mean, they both did the same time. 0.02 separating them.
Yeah,
but
again,
Kolesnikov should have won it. He jammed the finish or something happened.
Yeah, for me, Kolesnikov, his finishes and his last 15, his last 5... is always, there's room to improve. We'll talk about him in the 100 free later on. He's beatable if you're level with him in that last 15 meters.
Yeah.
It's just a technical element, isn't it?
You had a bit of a theory that with the women's 100 backstroke as well, that the 50-meter swimmers aren't back in it. They're not going up to the 100 and not winning the 100, but it's the 200 swimmers coming down to the 100 which are the one that's actually winning now. And I think that might be down to the training they're doing behind the scenes, the aerobic stuff, the endurance side of it, the stamina side, and then maybe they're able to hold off the lactic a little bit longer. Who knows? But,
I mean, we say it's a surprise. Rylov was the fastest guy in the world going into the Olympics. It was just the fact that going through the rounds, he never showed his hand whatsoever.
Yeah, it was a surprise. I just saw Kolesnikov and Murphy, especially Murphy after semi. It was a head-to-head, and I don't know what to say about it. It was just perfect for Rylov. I was actually just watching Kolesnikov because I thought he was going to win, and then it came up at the end and Rylov won. I was like, oh wow! It was surprising, and I think I was watching on the Eurosport, and he said the same thing. He was like, and Kolesnikov is, oh no, it's Rylov. Rylov has won. He had the same as me. I was like, oh, we've thought the same thing. Very interesting. But yeah, Murphy has been dethroned, but he did get a bronze, and it was a good time. 52.19 is very, very respectable.
Yeah, really good for that American medley relay that he's on fire, because I think that's where they win it, on that backstroke leg.
Yes, yeah.
Women's 100 meters breaststroke. I've actually got a lot of takeaways to talk about this one, because Lilly King took the first 25 out really, really hard. And she was obviously trying to play mind games because she was not good swim speed wise through the whole of the rounds. And actually through this final, she was pretty average as well for her.
Yeah.
That in turn, her going out that fast to 25 meters, I think really threw Schoonemaker off. And Schoonemaker chased her down that first 50 and was like, no, you know what? I'm turning first. I think she got a little bit too macho and she went out of her own race plan, which in turn, for that last 25 meters, she suffered. She really suffered. So had she completely ignored King and held a little bit more back on that 50, the first 50, I think she would have won. But you cannot take a thing away from the winner, who is 17-year-old sensation from Alaska, where there is only one Olympic swimming pool.
Yeah, she trains majority short course, so I'm hearing as well. Yeah, crazy. 17-year-old, the first Alaskan swimmer to represent USA as well.
Yep.
That's a stunning stat right there. And she goes and wins gold. Blimey. So Alaska are 100% on gold medals right now at the Olympics. That is for America. That's absolutely stunning. I kind of agree. It's very similar to Huang in the 200 free, where it's just three different sort of pacemakers. So Schoonemaker was following Lily King, and then Jacoby was following Schoonemaker. Yeah. And it just so happens that Jacoby was better at the back end. Very interesting technique. You see breaststroke now is very much a lift yourself out of the water and then drive yourself forward. I think that might be the Adam Peaty effects, because you're driving forward the recovery phase. But Jacoby is very much, I compared it to Liesl Jones.
Yeah.
A very sort of flat technique. No real heights. There's, I suppose, in her head, what's the point lifting up? Because the aim is not to go up. The aim is to go forward. And so, interesting. I mean, it works for Liesl Jones. One of the
she's won Olympic gold. There's nothing wrong with what she's doing.
No, obviously not. And she's 17 years old. The Paris is in 3 years, so she's going to be 20, 21, depending on where her birthday is. And again, still, no one has defended the women's 100-meter breaststroke in Olympic history. That is mad, isn't it? Insane.
What do you think about this question then? Oh, wrong one.
Oh,
there we go. Would Jacoby swim the medley relay or King? Oh. I wouldn't put King in that final. Her swim speed has not been impressive at all. And Americans always go, who swims faster? She's not swam faster.
It's brutal. Yeah, I mean, Lily King, yes, she's ISL champion, she's Olympic champion, she's had world records, got the world record, and they are very cutthroat in America. You've got to swim fast at that meet, otherwise you're not in a team. It wouldn't surprise me if they put Reagan Smith on the backstroke and then put Michael Andrew in breaststroke because of that now. I wouldn't be surprised.
The women's.
Oh, for the medley relay. For the women's medley relay. I'm sorry, I was talking about mixed. Yeah, that's what they do in America. I'm afraid that's what they do. Lily King has not looked good. She's slipping water. Something's not happening. The technique, the technical side of it, the dive looks great. Turn great, but the middle bit, the important bit, I suppose, on breaststroke, isn't happening. It's not working for her. And as of right now, sounds harsh, but yeah, Jacoby has to be in that team, surely, don't you think?
Definitely.
Yeah.
She'll be in the King will do the heats, obviously, but she won't be near the final, I don't think. Men's 200 meters butterfly. This was a funny one to watch. I've put here, Chad Lecaux got a telling off from James Gibson. Stop messing about, Chad. Get on with it. Now, his first 100 in that 200 fly looked very fast, but I think it looked disproportionately fast because the rest of the heat went fairly slow. Had he been in the same heat as Milak or the same semi-final as Milak and Bediso, it wouldn't have looked quite so mental.
Well, no, because Bediso does the same sort of tactic as Chad. Goes out strong and holds on. Milak goes out strong and is just a monster, so we can kind of just ignore him. Gold's gone. But my biggest takeaway was I put notes. Chad, nutter, but entertaining. That's what I've written.
Yeah, he just must love pain. Or just doesn't really feel pain. I actually think that is the only way he can race a 200 fly well. Because when he holds back and tries to back end it, he's too busy. That last 50, he is too busy looking around the pool. So if you're your coach, get the work done before he mentally switches off on a 200 fly. He watches around the pool and I don't know what it is. And as a coach, that's like the last thing you ever want a swimmer to be doing. But he's been doing it his whole career.
They were saying on comms that he still swims like a 9-year-old, looking around the pool. Where am I? Where am I? And then it just does it, especially on fly. I mean, some people do breathe to the side on fly, but then it makes the balance of the shoulders go funny.
But he's not breathing to the side. He's ruining his balance by looking around.
That and the rhythm as well. And surely when you're dying, you want to try and maintain rhythm, keep your hips higher, the rest of it. Interesting. It's entertaining though. It makes people watch. I would always tune in to watch Chad do a 200 fly because he might do something absolutely insane and go he's not going to go world record, but something really quick like a 152, or he's going to absolutely suffer, which is what he does every single time. but he does go into it. I think it's third fastest, isn't it? If I get it up. Yeah, it's mental. You kind of need these characters in swimming because it just makes me want to watch. I'm sure it makes everyone else want to watch as well. So
second semi-final, Milak 152.2, comfortable. The third and the 450 again. He looks so strong. He looks like he could negative split a 200 fly, go sub 150 quite comfortably. Really, I almost want to put him in a 200 freestyle and watch him do butterfly and see where he comes.
Yeah, you might as well do. Yeah, why not?
See how he goes.
Yeah, he just looks like he finishes his race and he's like stone face, like barely breathing. It's fine. It's just no problem. 152. Is that it? Oh, all right, that's fine.
There's going to be some fireworks tomorrow morning from him.
Yeah.
Bedisso, I want to talk a lot about him because he, for me, is favourite for silver. As long as he stops watching Milak and swims his own race. Yeah. So I think the first 100, he keeps getting excited and keeps going out too hard because he's next to Milak. He keeps going out with him. And if I'm him, ignore Milak. Have blinkers on. Do not concentrate on him and swim your own race because his front end speed is incredible and he doesn't die quite like Chad does.
Yeah. I mean, Bedisso's tactic, like I said before, is the same as Chad's, where he goes out hard and then eventually everyone dies at the end of a 200 fly. That's just normal.
Unless you're Milak.
But Bedisso's tactic, it just looks like it's being trumped by Milak's brilliance. That's the wording I've used here, because Milak is able to go out hard like Bedisso does, but just holds it. That's
why I think Bedisso needs to ignore him and just swim his own race.
Depends how he's been doing it in training. I mean, we talk about Michael Andrew in the 200 IM. You're not going to change your tactics now with a month out from trials or whenever. I think the Italian trials were part of Europeans or something. So you're not going to change it. If you've been training that same way for 2, 3, or 5 years now, you're not going to change it. There's no point. So it's going to be detrimental to you, basically. So
there were some big names who missed out on the final. Some big names.
I've written 3 down. 3.
Eddie Wang went into the semi-finals as second fastest qualifier with a 154. That would have made the final.
Yep.
Nowhere.
Yep.
Sato missed the final. Sato really hasn't looked good at these Olympics. It's a massive shame.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite to make the podium behind Milak then?
Ooh. There's a Brazilian, Leonardo de Deus, who went in, who was the only other person to go sub 155 in the semi-final. He's got to be up there. Ken Derisi is always up there as well.
Yeah, the Hungarians they love these pain events.
I think Chad won't. I don't think Chad will get there. Unfortunately, I think he's going to push too hard and he's going to blow up earlier and it will hurt more.
Okay.
So if I'm going to guess, Milak's 1, and I'm going to put Ken Derisi 3rd, and then the Brazilian gets 2nd.
Okay, I'll go with Bedisso and then Ken Derisi.
Okay. There was another name you missed out who didn't make the final, Zach Harting, who looks really good at American trials.
Well.
Yeah. And actually, if you look at that final, no American in a 200 fly.
Is there not? I thought there was.
Oh, no, Gunnar Bentz.
Yeah,
Sorry, there is Gunnar Bentz. I was going to say.
Yeah.
That would be mental if that was the case. Yeah, geez. Anyway, yes, moving on.
Women's 200 meters IM. There is a lot to talk about here. First semi-final, I thought the times were bang average because none of those girls, other than Sydney Pickram, have a good breaststroke.
That's what I wrote down. I said breaststroke in that final is going to be crucial. Absolutely crucial. And no one apart from, who was it in that first semi? Pickram, that's right. Pickram had a good breaststroke, which was really odd. But then you look at the second semi and they're full of breaststrokers. So it's very strange. And the one thing that I took away from the first semi was Alex Walsh has a great chance at a podium, has a brilliant chance at a podium.
Backstroke is incredible.
Phenomenal.
Freestyle, she looked like she was holding so much back. I think there's a 208 in her.
Yeah.
I do. For me, we'll get to podium predictions. She's there. She's there or thereabouts.
I agree.
That first semi-final, other takeaway, Hosu. Worked very, very hard just to get through the rounds. Come the final, she's obviously always going to be a threat. But you look at the other girls around the pool, and they're not breathing like she is afterwards.
Yeah, she qualified 7th, so she'll be in lane 1. It's very similar to the 400 IM. So she'll be on outside lane. And if you remember in that final in the 400, she turned 3rd after 300 meters. don't write her off. Do that at your peril. Don't write her off. I don't think she'll get on the podium, but don't write her off either way, because she's a legend of the sport, multiple Olympic champion and world record holder, etc., etc. And she's that for a reason. Iron Lady still. I mean, I'm sure she does stupid training sessions still. It wouldn't surprise me. But she's working hard, both in the heats and the semi. Looked like she's breathing heavy, and she worked hard for that place. But she does have a full day off now. So we'll see what she does. Recovery is key.
Semi-final number 2, won by Kate Douglas. Looked really good. Abby Wood. Now, I'm the biggest fan of Abby Wood, you'll know. I think she's a superstar in the making. I think she deserves a lot of credit. She's not getting any media attention at these Olympics. She should be, because for me, she's on this podium. Her breaststroke leg and that freestyle leg at the end will get her a medal. It's so strong back end.
I said yesterday that the breaststroke to freestyle turn is going to be crucial, and she does the bit like Joe, like I said, does the full 10 to 15 meters underwater, which takes out half a body length, and half a body length on this race is going to be gold, especially because she's got a strong freestyle. You've seen in the relays, she's going 53 point now in the relays on the 100 free, which is very good. Definitely, yes. Obviously, very good at breaststroke. She's just got to try and keep up with Douglas on the butterfly. Douglas is a fantastic flyer. If she can be level-ish on the backstroke turn, then
I've got here for the final. She needs to turn in first. Her freestyle is phenomenal, but the breaststroke to freestyle.
Okay,
She needs to turn ahead of Douglas, because Douglas's freestyle looked just as strong as Abby Wood's, and so did Alex Walsh's.
Yes.
Other Brit, Alicia Wilson, her breaststroke leg, phenomenal.
Yes.
Phenomenal. She doesn't quite have the freestyle at the end. However, she's a really good backstroker. She is a really good backstroker. So I think she needs to push that leg just that tiny bit more.
I think she might have to do the tactic.
She's a wild card.
She might have to do the tactic of Kylie Mass and get herself out there. I mean, it's going to hurt on that freestyle, but if you turn first by, I don't know, let's say quarter of body length, you got a chance. Just get yourself out there. Mentally, you must know your freestyle is not up to scratch compared to Douglas, Abby, and others in the pool, but you know your backstroke and breaststroke is. Push those on, and then just find out. I mean, we'll find out.
I actually think she's a massive wild card.
Yes. Yeah.
She pushed Abby all the way at trials. We know she's got a 209 in her. 208 wins gold. This is actually quite a slow field in terms of history of 200 IM. So 208 wins gold. Before the Olympics, we thought 208 was podium. I think maybe now it might be a little bit slower than that.
I feel like 2 people might go under 2.8, and if I'm going to pick 2, it'll be Abby and Douglas.
It's hard. It's hard because Walsh is good as well.
Yes, I know. And I've been talking about Alex Walsh for a while now, but just because similar to Ohashi, the strokes look really good, really efficient, and I just think there's more left. I think there's more left from her, so we could see 3 2.8s potentially. I think we'll see at least 2.
Ohashi's in the final, Pickram's in the final. Those are big names as well to keep an eye on. I just think for both of those, it's slightly too short.
For Ohashi, certainly. And then Pickram, probably. Maybe. So interesting to see what Alicia does, because she'll be in lane 8 by herself. It'll be interesting. We'll see.
Prediction then. 1, 2, 3. Go on.
Well, I've named the top 3. I think it's Douglas, Wood, and Walsh.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Which order you go?
The order. Oh my God! Let's just go Abby. Abby's going to do it. Abby's going to win.
Come on.
And then you've got the 2 Americans, 2 and 3, of which Douglas will be second. Yeah.
I think it's going to be mighty, mighty close. I hope this is a breakout performance for Abby Wood. It's been coming since ISL. Since then, since we spoke to her on the podcast, I thought that she doesn't get talked about enough. She really doesn't. She's so good. The fact she's got an outstanding 200 IM, an outstanding now 100 free, outstanding 200 free, outstanding 200 breaststroke.
It just reminds me.
How many swimmers do that?
Reminds me of Duncan Scott. I mean, she could potentially win so many medals, either now or in the future, and she doesn't get talked about. I know Adam gets all the plaudits, and rightly so, because he's absolutely sensational. But you've got other swimmers as well who should have the same profile as him. Yeah, and that's the reason. That's the reason why we started. Exactly. That's what I was about to say. That's the reason why we started propulsion swimming, because these swimmers need a bigger profile, and get them out there because they are superstars. They're amazing.
They are.
So,
yeah. And that is last night's finals reviewed.
Yeah. Last night. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if anyone's got any questions, let us know. We're going to have a quick 60-second ad break. We'll come back. We'll answer any questions, any topics of debate, and then we will start previewing the finals for the next day by reviewing today's heats.
Yep. We would like to thank our partner AP for powering this live stream. AP is a brand built by our very own Olympic champion, Adam Peaty. Adam and his team's vision over the next few years is to revolutionise the sport of swimming through various different projects and events for all swimmers, coaches and parents. They have already launched AP Race Plus, which is a revolutionary online platform that provides you with world-class support and access to Adam Peaty's own support team of nutritionists, psychologists and many more. You can even meet Adam and be coached by himself and his team over the next few weeks at the AP Race Clinics, which will be held towards the end of August. You can find details of this tour and the AP projects in the description of this live video. Thanks again to AP for powering the Propulsion Swimming Olympic live stream.
Okay, Dan, more heats to cover. There's, how many are there? 4, 5? Five set of heats. Lots of Brits in the water. Let's get straight into it. The men's 100 meters freestyle this afternoon. Jacob Whittle, I thought he suffered with the fact that he wasn't in a seeded heat.
Yep, I completely agree.
Otherwise, he looked really good. 48.4. I think he'll be slightly disappointed by the time. But the most exciting thing about Jacob, and it's a rare thing, he swims very fast in the morning. Very fast. At trials, he was rapid in the morning. He always swam his best swims there. Glasgow, he was incredibly good in the morning. There's a big PB in him. We said this after we spoke to him on the podcast. There's a big PB in him, and final maybe out of reach, but now he's racing with the big boys. I think he'll show up.
What is his PB? I forget now. I'm pretty sure that's close to his PB.
That's there or thereabouts, yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you that he needed to be in a better heat or a faster heat, because when you watch it, you think, oh yeah, Jacob. I mean, he turned last, turned to 8th, and then he ended up winning it.
I do think he slightly held back too much on that first 50.
Yeah.
We spoke to him, and he's got a really bad problem with over revving the first 25 meters, where he gets a bit macho and swims at 105% and doesn't catch water, where actually it's better for him to swim at 95%. I think maybe he just went slightly too far back, maybe to 90, 80%. But if he just goes out that slight bit harder, because he's got a good 200 free, he can definitely break 48, in my opinion. Definitely.
Well, this is what his coach was saying, Jamie Main, that ideally we wanted to swim at 95%. And of course, in the last 25 meters of the race, then put everything into it.
Obviously,
but the start for the easy speed, if you like, he needs to be quite slow, quite steady. And I think, you're right. I think he went a little bit too slow, but I think that's because of the heat he was in. If he was in a faster heat, I think it would have been a completely different story. And luckily, I mean, he has scraped through. Let's face it. He scraped through.
How many people get through from not a seeded heat?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in a way, he's done really, really well. Being 16 as well. Great race experience. He's going to be in lane 8, I suppose. Lane 8 of the first semi-final. Got a fantastic chance. He knows exactly what to do. I mean, he's capable of going sub 48, I feel. And especially being in a heat where, I mean, he's going to be in with the likes of Chalmers and, Kolesnikov now and the big guns. So definitely. Fantastic learning curve for him. Really one to watch, of course.
So the first seeded heat, Kolesnikov went at 47.89. Very good second 25 I took away. Again, beatable in the last 25, like that 100 back. I think maybe in the heats and everything like that, it doesn't really matter. He switches off slightly. That's fine. But come finals time, it just seems slightly, I don't know.
It's difficult to dig into it in the heats, because the thing I've written down was that, the usual suspects of Dressel, Chalmers, Morezi, Kolesnikov, I suppose you could put Popovici in there as well. They just did a professional job. They just did their job. They got through. I think they knew that as long as they go sub 48, No problem. You're going to go through. Yeah. I think sub 48 probably makes the final. I don't know about that. I'll take that back. It's going to have to definitely be sub 48 to get into that final. I think the big thing I took away was Dressel's start is just absolutely insane. It's right back up there, if not better again. But
that was the final heat, wasn't it? I got slightly worried for Popovici in that one because he got left on the blocks. Now, I think that is purely because he was in the heat of Dressel. It made it look worse. But if that happens in the final and he is, say, a lane 6, and you get left by Chalmers, Dressel, Kolesnikov, you get left by those guys in the blocks, you've got some waves to get through. Yeah. Which is different to European juniors when he went that 47-3.
Oh, European Juniors is very different. He was by himself by maybe a bod length or 2. So it's very different. Very, very different. And these guys are the biggest guys in swimming. I mean, Kyle Chalmers is a brute force, and you see Caleb Dressel's just a monster as well. It's going to be super exciting. I think from a GB point of view, it was an interesting tactical move here because Matt Richards didn't swim it because they're concentrating on a 4x2. Interesting. I would have liked to have seen Matt do it. I think we would have qualified for the final anyway in a 4x2. So
I think it was, what was it? Max Litchfield was a possibility for the 4x2, but he had to leave GB camp, I believe, 2 days after his 400 IM because they hadn't penciled it in for this relay. They didn't. COVID protocols meant he couldn't stick around. So once they had penciled in Matt, it was, well, you're in the relay or you're doing the 100 free. So obviously right now his best shot for a gold is that 4x2, so he had to put his individual aspirations aside, which is a shame because actually in the 4x1 freestyle relay I thought he looked phenomenal on the lead-off leg. The time wasn't too impressive, but his easy speed and his backhand speed was really good.
He was on PB and he did exactly what he needed to do. Given the race situation he was in, he dived in and finished his leg first. I mean, that's all you can ask, really. And he went on PB. I mean, you can't ask for too much more. Well, we'll get on to Matt with the 4x2 later on. I just think it's slightly unlucky for him. I do. I think you want, with Matt and Jacob being 18 and 16, build the experience up, surely, because Paris really should be the main goal for those two. But team tactics, we've always gone about team sports, and the 4x2 is... It's not guaranteed, but it's our best shot at a gold. And I suppose if you're going to adopt that tactic, then you got to go for it. So, yeah.
I think we can dig in a little bit more to this event when the semi-finals are done. Because I think all of the big guns are through. I don't think anyone swam overly poorly. The times are there or thereabouts. They just did the job. The two Italians impressed me the most. I'll put that out there. Both the two Italians look really on form this Olympics. Yeah. Now, another event where we cannot dig a single thing into, the women's 200 meters butterfly. This annoys me because this is an Olympic Games. This is the pinnacle of swimming. How on earth can we not get more than 16 people doing an event? That's a joke. That's a complete joke.
Yeah. I mean, to correct you slightly, there were 17, but then obviously Hossu pulled out. But it was frustrating because, of course, it was almost like they were pointless because as long as you don't get disqualified, you're through to the semi-finals.
It's not a good look for swimming.
Yeah, so you've got
there is elsewhere around the stratosphere that isn't swimming.
Yep.
There is arguments that there's too many swimming events on the calendar. They get loads of pool time, loads of Olympic medals to hand out. When you can then only fill 2 races for a 200 flight, it's disappointing.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it was very weird to see Regan Smith in the first heat in the middle lane. Like, what's going on here? Isn't she one of the fastest? Isn't she like top 5 or something like that in the world this year? Very strange to see, but I
do have one topic of debate which is slightly related to the 200 fly.
Okay.
Zhang Yufei. She looked really good in the 100 fly. She's a very good 100 freestyler. She's the fastest qualifier in this 200 fly.
Yeah.
If she wasn't Chinese, how much of a superstar in the sport would she be? If she was American, would she be getting articles written about her? If she was Sweden, if she's Sarah Sjöström, she's right up there at the top of multiple events. And yet we don't mention her at all in Europe, that she's not mentioned in America. Does she deserve a lot more respect? Yes. in my opinion. Yes.
She's the world record holder in this event, isn't she?
Yeah.
And it was a stupid, crazy supersuit time, wasn't it? 2:01 or something?
Oh, I'm not
it
sure.
was ridiculous. Let me check. I've got it here. Let me check. Oh, no, it was a different Chinese. Lu Zijie was 2:01 in the supersuit time.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, mental, eh? Yeah, going back to your question, we've always said that Adam Peaty, if he were American, he would be a global superstar, not just a British superstar.
I don't even think he's big enough in Britain, but that's a different discussion.
No. Well, yeah, that's a completely different question, I suppose. We could do a podcast on that, I suppose. That's a whole hour conversation just on that.
Yeah.
Well, here's a good comparison. Hayley Flicken is American. Do you reckon that she's a superstar in America? Very similar sort of swimmers. I don't think so.
No, but
either.
I think Zhang Yufei is better than her.
Ooh, yeah. Well, in the 200 fly, yeah, definitely. I know she doesn't do the 400 IM, Zhang Yufei, but it's an interesting question. I'd
be interested to know what people put in the chat. Your opinion. Do you know anything about her? Because she's the fastest qualifier for this 200 fly. She was second at the 100 fly. It just.
I was aware of her name.
Media bias.
I was aware of her name, but then we follow someone on social media which just Chinese news swimming.
Yeah.
And of course they give us the best Chinese swimmers from nationals or trials or whatever. And it was only then did I realize how good she really was. I heard the name, but she's going to win gold in this event, in my opinion. And it's not going to be like close either. The swim that she did was almost like a statement where I'm going to win this event. Like quite clearly, she won by the best part of a second. Interesting question. Maybe. I mean, that's just media for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
they're just not going to report anything about a Chinese swimmer winning. It's slightly annoying.
Yes.
But yeah, we can't take too much away from the 200 fly, unfortunately. So we move on to the men's 200 meters breaststroke. GB guys going through in 15th and 16th. That's risky. We said in our preview, I was slightly worried the world of 200 breaststroke has passed them by a little bit. I don't think it helped that they were in an incredibly slow heat.
Yeah,
incredibly slow.
It's race tactics again, or race happening situation, whatever. Very unlucky if you put them in a faster heats because if I got it right, the final heat was quick. And that's where you see the top.
No, the final heat wasn't quick. It was the second to last heat.
Well, I thought it was. Yeah, it was one of them, which was fast. If you put them in there it would have been quite a different story. They're through. That's the silver lining. They're through. They've got another chance. They'll be in the outside lane, so they can do their own race, do their own tactics. It's a very interesting race, 200 breaststroke, because it's almost like just get the 100 out the way. And then the real race can start. Yeah. It's very strange. Very strange.
Well, that's why I actually like Kuminga's tactic, where he went out hard for the first 100. It was really interesting. I've always said, actually, if there's 150 meters breaststroke, it's between him and Wilby who's going to win it. I thought beforehand he should have targeted this too as a massive chance to get a gold medal. But then you look at Zach Stubblety-Cook and you look at Chupkov. They look very good.
Yeah, Zach Stubblety-Cook looks very good. They have this exact same tactic where it's almost like they go too slow on the 100. You think, God, they're miles behind. I think they turn in, I'm trying to think now, 62, 63? No, yeah, 62. And then they just come back. Like, you can just see them. They're in a different sort of class of speed and space and time. They're just going so quickly.
I am looking forward to that head-to-head between those two.
Yeah, hopefully they're next to each other in a final. That'd be quite good because then you'll
semi-finals,
see. Yeah, well, they should be getting through the final, hopefully in lane 4 and 5. And then normally you see the spearhead, don't you, in finals?
Yeah.
It's going to be very much like a M shape potentially, and then it's just going to change.
And then you're going to go like that.
Yeah.
World record still predicted to go in this?
Yes, I think this is, for me, this was nailed on since, when did I say? I feel like, I predicted Duncan to win 2 years ago. Unfortunately, that didn't come in, but I'm more than happy that Tom's won. More than happy, that's fine. And I said that the 200 breaststroke was going to be one in a world record. And I think there's going to be two of them that go sub 2.6, to be honest with you. Both of those names are the names I just mentioned, Stubblety-Cook and Chupkov.
Can't write off the Japanese swimmer as well.
No, you can't. And nor Kuminga.
No. Yeah.
So,
it is going to be a dogfight. Just the semi-finals or the heats were fairly. Well, they weren't average. 207 is pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
I take that back. That's not average at all. 207 come heats time for a 200 breaststroke is as fast as the two Brits are probably likely to go.
2.7 is their PBs, give or take. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you can hit that time,
Fast is fast.
2.7 is making final. So they've just got to repeat what they have to do. But the Brits have got it all to do. They did 2.9s at trials as well, if I remember right, or Europeans. Yeah, they got to change gear. But I just don't know if it's a world-class 200 breaststroke. The best we're going to see ever, in my opinion. So, yeah, they've got to step up, if you like, but it's going to be very tough. It's a very tough field.
Right, next big conversation, men's 4x2 freestyle relay. Now, they looked very, very good this morning. Jimmy Guy, oh my life. It was a 1:44.6 in a heat when he had no one to chase. Well, he had Seliskar to chase down, but he absolutely destroyed Mac Horton.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he destroyed Seliskar as well.
Yeah.
That time is world class.
Well, listen, he's not in our opinion, one of the best relays, if not the best relay swimmer ever, for no reason. I mean, 1:44. He's just watched his teammate in Tom Dean and a good friend of his, Duncan Scott, go 1:44s, and he wants to be part of that crew as well. If he's able to go 1:44 in the final tomorrow in the morning, we've got 3 swimmers that could go 1:44. That's stunning. Awesome.
Any chance the two big boys go 1:43?
Well, hang on. Well, Tom's going to be leading off.
Yeah, I'd put Tom on the lead off. I agree with that. But can Duncan go a 1:43 at the end?
With a relay takeover, maybe.
To be fair, I'm not sure it will even be needed.
I've put question marks here. Punchy as it may seem, is the world record in threat here?
What is the world record, Dan?
Sub 7, 6:58.
6:58.5.
Yeah. Now
that's a super suit one. Super suit.
I've always said that you've got to go sub 7 to beat us. And are there any teams that could beat us? I mean, the Russians, we thought that they were going to be a big threat, but they have
Their
not
relays
turned
have
up.
been horrendous.
Yeah, they haven't looked good. I mean, you can't ever write off the Americans. I think they're a medal, but I just don't know if I don't want to jinx it. I mean, I'm super confident that Adam was going to win the 100 breaststroke because I think that's a given. But this one, I don't want to jinx it because anything can happen. It's a relay. You know, there's relay takeovers that are involved. But if we've got 3 swimmers going 1:44 and then the next swimmer going 1:45, we've won.
Well,
we've won. What's
the team then? Because Callum Jarvis swam a very, very impressive heat swim to go a 1:45.5, which is very good.
Very good.
I don't think that's enough to knock Matt Richards off the team because they made Matt Richards drop the individual. It's a very unfair comparison because Matt led off the team.
Yes, it's a very difficult one. I mean, it'd be great if we had like 5 or 6 swimmers and we 6x2, we'd win that. No questions. But yeah, the big question is who do we drop? Duncan's, of course, has to go in. I just think the decisive factor will be that Matt dropped his individual 100 free.
He also finished 3rd at trials. It wasn't like he scraped onto the team in 4th. He finished an impressive 3rd.
Yeah, that's true. I just think it's almost unlucky for Callum. Honestly,
I don't think he could have done any more to put his name in the ring. And to be fair, if they put him on the team, I wouldn't be disappointed.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't be too disappointed. It's just a shame that we've got 6 swimmers. Well,
there's more.
If you include Joe and Max and the rest of them, and you got to squeeze them into 4 spots.
I mean, they could have easily taken Cameron Curl. I think it was slightly unfair that they didn't take him because he went under consideration time.
But when you've got the Olympic champion, the Olympic silver medalist, and you have to put Jimmy Guy in there because he's an absolute monster, it's difficult. It's so difficult. It's a big headache of ours. Ultimately, is it going to make a difference? I don't know. I think we do win. I don't want to jinx it, like I've said. But maybe we've just jinxed it, haven't I? Oh, well. But I think ultimately it's going to be Matt. I think Matt will be in the team.
So.
And then the question, now we have this back and forth. How should the relay order go? Because we have different opinions on this.
Before we move on to that, I've just had a thought.
Oh.
I know one of my rare light bulbs has
gone
bulb. If they were trying to decide beforehand who was going to be racing in that relay, they wouldn't have made Matt lead off. They would have put Matt as a leg and Callum as a leg. So I think they were seeing if Jimmy leads off or if Callum leads off, which is why Jimmy's time was bonkers fast. I think that was the question mark in the selector's mind. Otherwise, you would have put Tom first. You would have put Matt in there as well. I think Matt's on the team in their mind. I think that's the thought process that's gone through my head just suddenly.
Probably. I mean,
because they've not got a comparison otherwise.
Yeah. Ideally, you want Tom to be leading, but you don't want to kill him on the first leg of a heat. I mean, I kind of called it his, what did I write down? Lap of honor for Tom Dean being Olympic champion. That's what I wrote down. Yeah. It's an interesting one. God, it's so
I actually think that's why Jimmy's time was so fast.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But yeah. Anyway, what order would you put these guys
there we
in?
go. We have confirmation. He isn't swimming. There we go. So the team is Matt.
Yeah.
What order? Tom Dean, Jimmy Guy, Matt, Duncan.
So it's funny. Everyone is saying Scott at the end. I would like Duncan to go second. I would like us to be absolutely miles ahead at the very beginning. And then we have Jimmy at the end, who's just Mr. Reliable.
Yeah, you know what? I have absolutely no problem with Jimmy Guy going at the end.
He's
the most reliable relay swimmer going.
Could you imagine how far ahead we'd be if we had Tom and Duncan go first? We'd be like, where are they? Miles ahead. And then Matt's got not the easy leg, but he's...
Do you then have a moment of panic if we're not miles ahead?
Maybe slightly, yeah. Like, oh God, they're doing quite well, and our best two have gone. Yeah, but then you've got Jimmy at the end, who you got to remember.
144 in him.
He's got a 144. He's just on 144. Fourth at Rio 5 years ago. World champion 6 years ago. He's pretty good. I mean, he's not shabby. But ultimately, is it going to make a difference anyway? They're all going to go. I mean, I'd love to see 3 of them go 140. Well, I'd like to see all 4 of them go for 144.
What's Matt's PB? Is Matt's PB a 145.1?
145, yeah, low. 145 2,
he's,
maybe.
He's definitely capable as well.
Yeah,
It's a fast team.
But this is why I was questioning whether the world record goes. And potentially, yes. And it's a super suit time.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I just want to add another gold underneath you.
Yeah.
That's all I want right now.
We're doing well. I mean, we're supposed to win a medal. I mean, we're going to win a medal. Hopefully it's gold. But super exciting, though. Super exciting.
And I guess that kind of ends our review and preview quite nicely.
Yeah. Well, we got the men's 800 meters, by the way. You forgot that.
We do.
Yeah.
Why do I always forget about the distance ones?
It's because you always think that you end with a relay. I've got that mentality. End with a relay.
It's odd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Atmosphere-wise. But yeah, there's the 800 as well.
I'll get my notes back. 800. Paltrinelli, not impressive. But he has been ill.
He has been ill with mono, hasn't he?
Mono. How do you get mono when you're an adult?
It's mental.
It's the kissing disease when you're a teenager.
Yeah.
Romanchuk and Wellbrook look the best at the field, but to be honest, all of them had to go pretty fast to make that final. Felix Ubek again looked good. He'll be disappointed with his 4th in the 400. It's a fast field. Detty didn't even make the final.
Yeah, Detty didn't make it. That was the biggest takeaway for me. Detty didn't make it. And I'm glad that there's a bit of competition. You get the 800 and the 1500 with the women, and Casey Ledecky is just so far ahead. And you're almost like, I don't want to watch it because I know who's won. I'm just not interested. But here, I mean, I've said that Romanchuk wins. But Wellbrook has a great chance of upsetting. Would it be an upset?
He didn't. No,
I'm not sure. Upset,
he didn't race at Europeans, which might actually play in his favour slightly.
Yeah, possibly. I suppose Paltrinelli being ill or having his illness has actually done really well to make the final. To be honest with you,
we'll see what he's got. Maybe him being in lane 8 is slightly dangerous. He will be unsighted for all of them.
Yes,
which is a scary thought. It's a scary thought knowing he's out there and you've got to concentrate on your race.
Yeah, interesting. We'll find out who you're going with out of the. Is it a 2-horse race? You got Bobby Fink in there, Felix Obeck as well. It's a good race. Jack McLaughlin is in there too. I think it's a 2-horse race, but
I'll go Wellbrook.
Oh, I say Romanchuk. So okay, interesting.
There we go.
We shall see. Kieran Bird didn't do too well, unfortunately. 25th overall.
Not brilliant.
just experience. He's got to learn
Yeah.
from this and then move on to Paris. And I think I said this in the very first one with his 400, where if he learns from this, he's going to be much more relaxed in Paris. And hopefully that's where the performances come out of him.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Good call. Right, after our false finish, that is
Now it's over, yeah.
the review of day 4. Thank you so much for everyone who has joined us again. Again, we need to give a massive shout out to AP for powering this live stream. If you do want to get coached by Adam or any of his team, the team is phenomenal, by the way. You've got Jamie Main, who coached Jacob Whittle. You've got Ed Baxter, who was the training partner of Adam's for many, many years. Go have a look at the AP race clinics. That's linked in the description of this live stream, or just follow the link on your stream on the screen. And have a look at AP Race Plus as well. Fabulous platform to support all swimmers, coaches, and parents. Dan, I'm hopeful that there are going to be a few, not just one, a few more medals to add beneath you tomorrow. I really am.
Yeah, I hope it's at least another gold, definitely. Yeah, we've always said that double figures is the aim, and we are well on track for doing that.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, well on track. Super exciting.
I'm really excited to see how Abbey Wood goes. I really am. I really am.
I think it's a podium. It just depends what color, and I'd love it to be gold. Love it.
I might be bouncing around work tomorrow. One last question. Do you think Mac Litchfield should have been in the relay? Like I said, I think COVID protocols meant he couldn't stay around the Olympic Village all that time just for him to maybe be put on the relay. They had to really confirm that he was on that relay, and I don't think they could.
If there was no COVID stuff going along, I reckon
he would have stayed at the village and he
would
might
have done it. Yeah, him or Joe or something. But I think Joe's got the 200 IM coming up, so he probably wants to focus on that. I think swimmers get to choose ultimately what they want to do. Yeah, I would have picked Max and then given Matt his individual because he would have been through to the semi. That's where I would have done it. But I think COVID has prevented, I suppose, which is unfortunate.
Well, we will be back tomorrow night at 7:30 British summertime, as we are every night. If you haven't already subscribed to the Propulsion Swimming YouTube channel, please do so. You'll then be notified when we are live. Guys, it's been a brilliant day in the pool for British swimming. There's more to come. There is so much more to come.
Yep, I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you very much for everyone joining us, and thank you for all the comments again. We love it. The whole idea is to build a community in British swimming, and it's great to see. And please keep coming in and keep watching and keep commenting. We will get these questions up and just big debates. I love it. Yeah. I think it's great. So thank you very much, everyone.
We will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.